conservatives. Right now, it looks like most likely Kamala Harris is going to win. So there's a couple things I want to make it clear to you in terms of the truth versus what you've been told by many dishonest actors in the right-wing media ecosystem. So first of all, she's not going to destroy the country. Life is going to go on, right? Things are going to continue pretty much as they are, which obviously there's bad sides to that. But it's not like she's going to destroy things, destroy America, it's the end of America, it's going to become a woke, whatever. None of that's going to happen, right? Things are going to pretty much stay the way they are. A lot of the stuff that she claims that she was going to do, first of all, that stuff was actually going to be good for us if executed properly. But I'm not optimistic that she's going to do much of that stuff. I look at her as a very weak politician. So, the stuff that she's talking about is, in my view, against what the establishment wants. It's against what the donors want. So the machine, right? You guys may refer to it as the deep state, right? You talk about the deep state. Well, the deep state is against the kind of stuff that she wants to do, right? So whoever they are, whatever you want to call them, they are going to pressure her and intimidate her and, use all kind of scare tactics. And there's a lot of, it's a huge machine, right? It's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure. And I just don't think she has what it takes to fight against that stuff. So even if you believe the stuff that she's going to do is going to destroy the country, the reality is very unlikely that she's going to get that stuff done. If she gets that stuff done, then it means that goes against what you probably believe. She's incompetent. She doesn't have any abilities. Well, if that's the case, then the stuff she's talking about is not a threat to you, because an incompetent woman, the way you're describing her, is not going to be capable of doing that. The reality is she is capable. She can get this stuff done, but I don't think she has the will to, because to get those things done, it's going to require her to get in the mindset of Afghanistan Joe. Joe Biden went against the machine to get us out of Afghanistan. He took a lot of political hits. There was a lot of pressure from all around. The system resisted him pulling us out of Afghanistan, and he just closed his eyes and he says, "We're getting out of Afghanistan. I don't care what it takes. We're pulling out." And he did it. We will need that from her for her to accomplish the things that she says she wants to do, and I just don't see that in her. She could surprise us, but then again, like I said, the stuff she was talking about, first of all, proof that it's not really as bad as maybe you think is the fact that the average person that was critiquing her policies was lying about them, right? Saying she's talking about price controls, which she was not talking about price controls. They lie about her qualifications. She's won so many elections, right? That's how she got to where she's at, right? Again, if she was really as bad as they claim, then they would be critiquing the truth and not making stuff up, right? Pretending like she's just ditz, bubblehead, whatever. So that's that. Now, immediately, Trump is going to do what he always does. He's going to make up a bunch of stories about election fraud and election being stolen. The Republicans are going to have an edge, as they generally do, and this is by design. They keep telling their voters not to do mail-in ballots, it's fraudulent, whatever. They push their people to vote on election day, so that means on election day, they're going to have an edge, right? And then after that edge comes in, you're going to have the mail-in ballots being counted, and that's where she's probably going to catch up. So probably going to see this evening Trump winning, maybe, unless things are really bad and he doesn't even do that tonight. But that's a possibility that you're going to see him winning tonight. And then sometime between now and the counting of the ballots completing, she comes ahead. The other thing is there might be areas that might take a while to count. And part of the reason is going to be the games that the Republicans are going to play, right? There's going to be all kind of scandals and, bogus claims. And they're going to ask for recounts here and a recount there. If the election is close, they're entitled to the recounts, but this stuff is not going to be good faith. It's going to be bad faith, playing games, just muddying up the system. And this is going to lead to delays, right? It's going to take longer and days are going to go by. And it's like, who won? It looked like it was Trump. Now it looks like it's Kamala, but they're saying something in Pennsylvania. And there's something about Georgia, a guy in a green van with a helmet. And he had some duffel bag. And in the duffel bag, I saw some papers falling out and this, and, all kinds of stuff, right? There's a guy in a latex suit and he was sliding down the chimney and, whatever, right? Don't take my word for it. If you want to be able to figure out what the truth is about that kind of stuff, then what you need to do, there goes a wild cat running through the yard. What you want to do is pay attention to what's happening in court. Right-wing media is not going to show you that stuff, right? They're not going to really talk about it that much. They'll talk about it, but they'll just be like, yeah, in court, such and such happened. They won't really detail it. They're not going to send you links to the court documents. They're not going to show you the court documents. They're not going to, they're not going to let you really know the substance of what's happening in court. Because in court, that's where the truth, you want to know what the truth is? Don't worry about me. Find out for yourself. Look at what happens in court. Because what's going to happen is, this is what they do. They go into court with something bogus. Like, for example, I say, I believe that I'm the one that should have won the election and I got cheated, right? Literally me, right? And my proof is, and I bring in like a typed up document that says that, that I won the election, or just something really, really, if I go into court with that, I mean, they're not gonna proceed and hear the evidence, right? Because like, they're gonna be like, listen, you weren't on the ballot. Like, we've never heard of you before. How could you have won the election? No one knows anything about you. You're not on the ballot anywhere. This is ridiculous. And they're gonna reject it, right? And then, if I do that, then what I'll do after that is I say, listen, man, it's a lie. I actually won. And people say, oh, how come the courts, you didn't win any cases? Because they didn't want to hear the evidence, right? So that's the game that they play, right? So if you want to know the truth, don't listen to Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and Tim Pool. Look at the court documents. Look at the court filing, and then you're going to see my filing. I said that I won the election, and my proof was some typed up piece of paper. And the judge responds and says, a typed up piece of paper isn't proof or whatever. So you can see for yourself how ridiculous, my claim was, and therefore be able to understand why it was rejected. So people can't manipulate you into like, oh, they didn't even look at the evidence, right? These are the games they play. Also, affidavits. That's another scam that they like to play. You got all kinds of crazy people all over the country believing all kinds of crazy things, right? I mean, let's flip things, right? So you believe that there's only 2 genders, and then you have left-wingers that believe there's 1 million genders or whatever it is, right? So you think they could get a bunch of affidavits from left-wingers saying, there's 100 genders and I've seen them with my own eyes, right? So there's tons of wackos that are going to either be willing to lie or are just generally stupid. And, I saw a guy in a bunny suit with a duffel bag and this, so you're going to get a bunch of affidavits, right? And one of the games they play, they're going to say under penalty of perjury, right? So it's like, you can't dismiss this stuff because if they're lying, they have a big risk, right? Listen, man, it's just not that complicated. I mean, if you can actually go into court and testify, that's different. But for you to just write on a piece of paper an affidavit and make some claim, and for that to be handed to an attorney that's going to go into court with something ridiculous, like, for example, the Debate Me channel thinks he won the presidency, right? Again, they would just reject the case because it's ridiculous, because I didn't win the presidency and it's kind of obvious. It's not something that meets the bar of like, we have to investigate and you have to prove your case. No, it's kind of like, you're a nut job, get the hell out of here, right? But the main thing is, on social media, anything goes. So I can go on social media and say that they didn't want to hear the evidence, and we have all these affidavits and under penalty of perjury, right? And I can say all kinds of radical stuff, and this happened, and there was proof, and a specialist this, and this guy was a liberal guy, and he said that he saw, right? But what is said on social media is irrelevant, because that is a platform where you can say whatever you want to say, no consequences, right? You want to know what's really going on? Look at the court documents. Now, unfortunately, many of you are not going to look at the court documents because you don't really want to know the truth. You will say you do, but in reality, you don't spend the time looking into things and investigating things. People say things that make you feel good, or say things that you want to hear, and you grab onto it and you accept it. You don't question it. You don't have any skepticism at all, right? So you're not going to be, even though I'm saying this to you, you're not going to go and look at the court documents, right? You might be nodding your head, yeah, I'll take a look, whatever. But in reality, when it comes down to it, Tim Pool or Steven Crowder is going to be able to come to you and say, a guy in a bunny suit, whatever. And you're going to be like, well, maybe, I don't know, man. I just don't know. Maybe they did steal the election. And what about the affidavits, right? But you're not going to actually put in the effort to actually confirm that stuff, right? And if that's you, this video is not for you. I'm talking to the people who want to know the truth, who have strength, right, and character, and are willing to face the truth and the reality of potentially being wrong, right? The reality of accepting, like, maybe you've been misled about something. I'm talking to those strong people who are willing to accept those things. But for the people with the fingers in their ears, this video is not for you, right? So again, Trump is going to play his games. Fortunately, I don't think there's going to be a big risk of a January 6th part 2 because of the risks and all the people who went to prison. But I still think there's a threat of a lone wolf guy doing something. I'm surprised something hasn't happened already. I'm not even going to elaborate what I am talking about. I think some of you know what I'm talking about, but I think the risk of that only increases after the election if Kamala wins. So this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.